So there was this one story, I think, where angels might have been involved. Um, I have a truck, and my mom has a fifth wheel that she needed me to move for her. And the fifth wheel that we have has a special plate on it for our slide. And neither me or my husband knew that, because the plate, when we bought the RV, the plate was already installed because we had the hitch installed, and nobody ever told us if we, or maybe they did, I don't remember, but that it was a while ago. So if they ever did tell us, we would have forgotten about it. But the plate needed to be taken off of that particular fifth wheel and put onto another fifth wheel to be able to move any fifth wheel on that particular hitch. So, not knowing this, I had to go pick up my mom's fifth wheel and move her to our property. And I'm going to say that was probably 20 miles or more away from our house. Now, I didn't have the plate on her fifth wheel, and I went and I picked it up. And from the moment that I went to leave, her fifth wheel came sliding into the back of my truck. And I was going slow through that park. I had to be going maybe 5 miles, and it just slammed into the back of the truck. So then I thought maybe something wasn't right. Maybe it wasn't loaded right onto the hitch. So I had to get out of that particular stop sign area and move down a little bit more into another street to be able to stop again to get off of the hitch and get it back onto the hitch again. So in doing so, and still going really, really slow, when I stopped again, it slammed it back into the back of the truck again. And I was getting really upset by this because, I didn't want my truck to get hurt. So I ended up getting off the hitch and checking everything, and then backing back into the hitch, getting it locked and everything, and figured, okay, this must be some type of fluke, and I left. So the whole time this was going on, because it's a process, so it takes a little while, the whole time that this was going on, my mom was worried about her RV. Obviously, her RV was new, and she was praying. And so by the time everything was said and done and I left again, I, who am not afraid to drive a fifth wheel, was scared to death to travel with this thing because I had never had that happen before with our fifth wheel. So I didn't understand why this was happening. So I had to have driven maybe 20 miles or more. I went slow, but it's not like you can go 5 miles an hour. I mean, I still had to go at least the speed limit. And then, there were still stops I had to come to with lights and everything, which was the part that was freaking me out because I didn't want to have any more problems. And I made it, I swear to God, all the way back to my house. It got into the driveway, and then that's where I started having the slamming issues again. And before I could get her set up, it turns out the RV got bound up in the hitch. The hitch kind of turned around and it got bound up. I couldn't get it out. My husband couldn't get it out. I had to call my boss at the time and have him come over. He's a big guy with a crowbar, and he crawled back there and he ended up getting it dislodged. He said the same thing. It was all bound up. So we ended up figuring out later that it was because of the plate. So lesson learned on that one. But the point was besides, I could have killed myself and killed other people on the road because I did not know that little piece of information. Somebody was keeping it from slamming into the back of the truck and potentially even flipping the truck. I mean, if something really bad had ended up happening. So I ended up looking later that night because I was curious why this thing wasn't slamming into the back of the truck when it was doing it before I even left the park to begin with. And then it did it once I got back to the house. How did I make it through going in 40s, slowing down, but still, and hitting stoplights and stuff. How did it not ever slam into the back of the truck? So I looked it up on a forum, and a lot of people said the same thing, that you cannot drive without the plate on. It will slam into the back of the truck the entire time. It will get bound up. I heard all the same exact things. And I heard one couple that was saying that when they left the dealership, it was the same thing. They had the hitch installed, and when they left the dealership had never put the plate on their RV. So when they left the dealership, they didn't know this, and they slammed the entire way home. And there was nothing they could do about it until they were back home, and then they had to get the plate mailed to them or whatever. So I don't know how I got home without having that happen to me, but the best I can say is through my mom's prayers, somebody was basically back there holding that thing from hitting the truck. And I'm glad that they did, because that was an experience that I didn't really want to have to go through. Just going through it in the park, and then going through it when I got back to the house alone, was something that I didn't really like. So being on a road and having that thing slamming into me, being by myself and whatever, I would not have been really happy in that scenario, plus the fact of the truck as well. So prayer, man.